I didn't leave my son's wedding early. I didn't cause a scene. I didn't cry in the bathroom or whisper my pain to strangers. I sat there quietly, holding something in my hands that told me everything I needed to know about my place in his life. No one screamed. No one insulted me. No one pushed me aside. They did something far worse. They forgot me. And by the time I stood up from my seat that night, I wasn't just a guest walking out of a wedding. I was a mother walking away from the version of love that had been slowly erasing her for years. Welcome to my YouTube channel Whisper Stories, where silence speaks. My name is Emily, and I am 65 years old. I never imagined that the day my son got married, the day I once dreamed of as the proudest chapter of my life, would become the day I finally learned how invisible I had become. It started with a plate. A small white plate. Cold to the touch. The hook, the plate that changed everything. I remember holding that plate in my hands, feeling the chill seep into my fingers. The chicken had congealed slightly, the gravy thick and dull, the rice clumped together like it had already given up on being enjoyed. Around me, laughter rang out, bright, loud, careless. Crystal glasses clinked, music swelled. But no one noticed me. I was standing near the far wall of the wedding hall, next to a stack of empty chairs, while servers rushed past me carrying fresh, steaming plates to tables filled with smiling guests. I was the last to be served at my own son's wedding. And what they gave me were the leftovers. Cold, forgotten like me. Who I was before that moment. I wasn't always this quiet woman standing in the corner. Once I was the center of a small, warm universe. I raised my son Daniel on my own after his father passed away when Daniel was just 9. I worked 2 jobs, one during the day as a school secretary and another in the evenings cleaning offices. I missed sleep, I missed meals, I missed birthdays and weekends. But I never missed loving him. I stitched his school uniforms by hand when money was tight. I stayed up late helping him study for exams, my eyes burning while he yawned beside me. When he got sick, I slept on the floor next to his bed. When he cried, I held him until my arms went numb. I taught him to say please and thank you. I taught him to respect elders. I taught him never to let anyone feel small. Or so I thought. The wedding preparations. When Daniel announced he was getting married, I cried tears of joy. His fiancée, Laura, was beautiful, elegant, and from a well-off family. I told myself none of that mattered. Love was enough. From the beginning, though, I sensed something off. Laura's mother spoke over me during planning meetings. Decisions were made quickly, confidently, without looking in my direction. When I offered suggestions, they were met with polite smiles and immediate dismissal. "Oh, that's sweet, Emily," Laura would say, patting my hand as if I were a child. "But we've already decided." I told myself it was nerves, weddings were stressful. I didn't want to be that mother-in-law. So I stayed quiet. The day of the wedding. On the morning of the wedding, I woke before dawn. I wore the dress I had saved for months to buy, simple, navy blue, modest but elegant. I pinned a small brooch at my collar, the one Daniel gave me when he graduated. "I'll always take care of you, Mom," he had said back then. At the venue, chaos buzzed in the air. Florists rushed around, photographers shouted instructions, guests arrived in waves of perfume and excitement. I looked for Daniel. He was busy. Always busy. "Mom, I'll talk to you later, okay?" he said, adjusting his tie. "Things are crazy right now." I smiled and nodded. Later never came. The seating arrangement. When it was time to sit for the reception, an usher guided me, not to the front table, not even near it, but to a table near the back, partially blocked by a decorative pillar. I hesitated. "I'm the groom's mother," I said softly. The usher looked embarrassed. "I'm just following the seating chart." I sat down. Around me were distant relatives and acquaintances who barely knew my name. Across the room, Laura's parents sat proudly at the head table, laughing with Daniel and the newlyweds, closest friends. I clapped when the speeches were made. I smiled when Daniel spoke about love and gratitude. He didn't mention me. The moment of humiliation. Dinner service began. Plate after plate of hot food was delivered to table after table. The aroma filled the hall. Guests ate, chatted, and complimented the meal. My table waited. And waited. Servers passed us again and again, avoiding eye contact. One guest at our table whispered, "Maybe they forgot us." Finally, a young server approached, holding a few plates stacked together. "I'm so sorry," she murmured, eyes downcast. "This is what's left." That's when she handed me the plate. Cold, clearly untouched for some time, the food looked tired, defeated. I stared at it. Something inside me cracked, not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, like a bone hairline fracturing under years of pressure. I looked up and saw Daniel laughing at the head table. I realized then. No one had forgotten me. I had simply been unimportant. What I felt in that moment. I didn't cry. That surprised me. Instead, I felt a deep, hollow calm, like standing at the bottom of an empty well. I thought of all the nights I skipped dinner so Daniel could eat. All the dreams I postponed. All the times I said, "It's okay," when it was. I pushed the plate away. And I made a decision. So I stood up. At first no one noticed. Music was playing, glasses clinked. Then I walked. Not toward the exit. Toward the microphone. A hush slowly rippled through the room as guests realized the groom's mother was standing there. Daniel turned, confused. "Mom," he mouthed. I took a breath. "My name is Emily," I said into the microphone, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. "I am 65 years old and today I watched my son get married." Polite applause followed. "I won't take much time," I continued. "I just wanted to say this." I paused, letting my eyes sweep the room. I was the last to be served tonight, and when I was given leftovers. A murmur spread through the crowd. "I don't say this for pity," I said. "I say it because it reminded me of something important." I looked directly at Daniel. Love should never make someone feel small, and family should never forget the hands that held them when they had nothing. Silence. "I wish you both happiness," I finished quietly, "but today taught me that sometimes letting go is the greatest act of self-respect." I placed the microphone down, and I walked out. The aftermath. The night air outside was cool. I breathed deeply, feeling lighter with every step away from the hall. My phone buzzed. "Daniel." I didn't answer. For the first time in decades, I chose myself. The days that followed. Word traveled fast. Relatives called, some apologized, some defended Daniel and Laura. "He didn't mean it," they said. But meaning doesn't erase impact. A week later, Daniel came to my house. He looked tired, smaller. "Mom," he said, his voice breaking, "I didn't know." I looked at him gently. "That," I replied, "is exactly the problem." He cried. So did I. But tears don't rebuild respect overnight. Reclaiming my life. I began doing things just for me. I joined a book club. I traveled, small trips at first, then bigger ones. I laughed again, loudly, unapologetically. I learned that motherhood does not mean erasing yourself. Daniel and I speak now, slowly, carefully, with boundaries. He learned a lesson that night. So did I. The moral of my story. Respect is not owed because of titles, mother, son, family. It is earned through care, attention, and gratitude. Never make the person who sacrificed for you feel like an afterthought. And never accept being treated like leftovers at a table you helped build. Because self-worth, once reclaimed, is the warmest meal of all. And at 65 years old, I finally learned how to serve myself first.